inches, almost like the number 7. So I have about an inch. This is just so I have something to grip. I'm going to hold this wire. Well, let me rotate this a little bit so this there we go. Okay, I'm going to hold this little end parallel to my Sharpie, so I'm gripping this with my non-dominant hand. I'm right-handed. As I wrap this, I want to wrap this tightly as if I'm making a spring. I'm going to show you what not to do. What a lot of students do is first of all, they forget to make the 7, so then they're doing this and they're stabbing their hand. But then when they wrap it, they go like this. This is not what you want. You want something nice and tight like this. I'm going to take a little bit longer wire just for my demo purposes. Do my 7, hold it at the cap, wrap it around nice and tight. Now, because we're beginners, what you're going to do is you're actually going to, after you pull this off, I have my spring, I'm going to take my Sharpie and I'm going to draw a line straight down. What that's doing is that's telling me where I need to cut. But remember, I told you these are cheap and they break easily. So I'm not going to go and cut the whole thing like that. You're going to break my tool and you're going to hurt your hand. So what I am going to do is I'm going to take one little piece of wire at a time and cover it with my hand so that this wire doesn't go flying across the table into someone's face. Or in this case, I'm going to pinch it so you can see what I'm doing. I'm holding that wire in place, and that first piece is garbage. You're not going to use that. Then I'm going to go to that next little wire piece where I drew and cut that. Voila, perfect jump ring. And then I'm going to pull these apart so that I can get to them. Not too much, but just enough that I can get in there. So first, I want you to cut a whole bunch of jump rings. But the one thing I did not talk about is wire gauge. This silver wire, I believe, is 20 gauge. And I can tell you that because I can look at this little number on the spool that says 20. The problem with 20 gauge, at least with jump rings this big, is this wire is so big that it's weak. So if I put this jump ring through my Shrinky Dink and close it, notice this is how we open and close. I know I mentioned it the other day, like this. You do not want to stretch it this way because now I've distorted that curve, so when I go to push it closed, it now is all distorted. So anytime you open and close a jump ring, hold it from the top view. I'm going to wait for the camera to adjust, maybe, adjust. Open it this way, put this on my Shrinky Dink and close. But I'm going to lose my Shrinky Dink because this wire is too weak. So I have two options. I can make a smaller jump ring using a smaller diameter, which would be my dowel, and let's do that. Or I can use a heavier gauge if I wanted to make big jump rings, so we'll do that too. Okay, so again, I'm going to repeat my number 7. I'm going to wrap it around nice and tight. So the smaller your diameter with a thinner gauge, the stronger your jump ring will be. So again, I'm going to draw my line and then get my wire cutters. The first cut's always going to be garbage. Actually, in this case, my second jump ring is also going to be garbage because I didn't have a good wrap on that last one. So now, let me clear my space. Now I'm going to cut a few. Okay, so my jump ring, now this one's a lot better. So because it's smaller, I'm going to put that in there and then close it from the top view, going back and forth. And what I like to do is do 2 jump rings and hook them in there. And then I have key rings that you can attach these to. So you can see here my Shrinky Dink. I did multiple jump rings into the key ring. Now this one is still a little bit weak, so I would maybe go, I have some bamboo skewers back there that are thinner than this, but that's why you want pliers because then the jump ring is so small. But the other option is to use, I have 16 gauge copper. I also have 18 gauge. So the smaller the number, the heavier the wire. And this is my, so 14 gauge is the biggest, 24 gauge is the smallest. You never want to use a 24 gauge to make jump rings. This is so thin, nothing's going to stay. We use that for beadwork. But I'm going to use my 16 gauge, make the number 7, use it on the dowel. And now this is going to be perfect. So Arda, you're going to have the most perfect jump ring for your Shrinky Dink. So again, this is review. I'm going to pull it apart a little bit because why? Why do I want to pull this apart again a little bit? Anyone? Anyone? Max? Why do I want to pull my spring apart a little bit before I cut it? So it's easier to cut because I don't want to cut more than one piece at a time. This is going to break my hand and break my tool and be dangerous. So again, last thing, as I'm cutting this, cover it with your hand or hold the piece so it doesn't fly across the room. Okay, so this wire is much stiffer. So this is where I want to use my pliers, my flat nose pliers that I will pass out to you to push it open that way. And I'm going to pull these out because I know this. And put that in there, and then I can push them together. When these start to get smaller, that's when it's good to use 2 pliers to twist it. All right, any questions?